ones, thank you so much for stopping by with Love Mom on today. What do we have today? Today we have something special for you. Today we are going to make vegetarian scallops. Yes, I said vegetarian scallops. How you gonna do that? Well, stay tuned, keep watching. Let's see what's happening in the kitchen. Okay, so today we're going to make some vegetarian scallops, and the reason I say vegetarian instead of vegan is because I use fish sauce in my marinade to make them taste like actual scallops. But if you want to do it vegetarian, if you want to do it vegan, you just leave the fish sauce out. But for me, I put the fish sauce in because I like the flavor that it gives it. So we're going to start that by making our marinade for our scallops, which aren't actually scallops. We're actually using king oyster mushrooms. So okay guys, so today to get started on our meal, we're going to start with our marinade for our scallops that we're making, and we're making vegetarian scallops. The reason I say vegetarian and not vegan is because I use fish sauce in the marinade. But if you want to make them vegan instead of vegetarian, just leave the fish sauce out. We're going to start with about 3 tablespoons of soy sauce that I put in the bottom. If you don't want to use soy sauce, Bragg's Aminos tastes just like it. It's low in sodium. It doesn't have all the other stuff, so it's absolutely heavenly. So then I'm going to put that in the bottom, and then I'm going to take a little of my fish sauce and just a couple of sprinkles, 2 or 3 sprinkles of it, not a lot because it can get overpowering. And I get this at the Oriental. This is just a fish sauce I get at an Oriental grocery store. Costs like $1.90 for the bottle. Now we're going to use some malt vinegar, and you put about 2 to 3 tablespoons of malt vinegar in. Okay. And then we're going to use some sesame oil and about 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. Okay. Now we're going to take that and season it with a pinch of salt and a little bit of coriander seed powder, about a teaspoon. Okay. You're going to take your whisk and stir that around so that all of those flavors can incorporate together. Okay, and then we're going to set this to the side. Okay, now we're going to get started on our scallops. Now for our scallops, I'm using king oyster mushrooms. They sell these. See how big they are? They sell these at Whole Foods, but I find them to be kind of expensive when you buy them at Whole Foods, so I go to an Oriental grocery store and buy them. And you might want to take that off first. So I go to an Oriental grocery store and buy them. And what we're going to do is I usually take the tops off and take off the bottoms. Then you just cut them into rings, just like you would when you see scallops. They're in little rings. Same thing. So you're cutting them into rings and try to make them as even as possible. Okay, and there you have it. And see how they're round like scallops? That's exactly how they look. And then we're going to cut this one on our angel hair pasta that we're using so that it can be done by the time we finish. This recipe is going to go pretty fast, guys. So you want to kind of have some stuff prepared. Alright, so we got that. So now we're going to take these and take out my little whisk. Sorry. And we're going to take these and we're going to drop them in. I'm going to drop them in here. And then you're going to take a spoon or something and swish them around. You can actually use your hands. I'm going to use my hands. You're going to swish them around in that marinade that you're making. This is what's going to make them taste more like scallops. Okay? Swish them around like so. Then we're going to cover this plastic wrap, and we're going to sit them to the side for just a few minutes while we get everything else ready. Okay, so now we're going to get our things that are going into our sauce ready. We're going to saute these things first. We're going to use just a few tomatoes because we're not doing like a red sauce or a marinara today. So I'm using some of the blended tomatoes that I have, where you have all different types of tomatoes. But I'm using my blended tomatoes and just using a few of them, about 6 or 7, because I don't want the tomatoes to overpower what I'm doing with my sauce, because we're making a lemon herb sauce. So we're going to use that. Now I'm going to clean the tomato up off of here. There we go. And put that over in a bowl. Then we're going to use some of our spring onions. I'm just going to need 2. So we're going to use 2 spring onions. Just cutting off the ends here. You know how it is with spring onions. And it was very late in life that I realized that spring onions and chives were 2 different things. But they actually are. I used to think the chives was just the green part of the spring onion, but not so. Chives actually grow as chives individually. So, alrighty, so cut off the spring onion tips. Then we're going to, or as my grandmother said, them green onions in there. And then we're just going to chop those off, chop those up as much as possible, not too much. You don't want them too minced, you want them kind of coarse. And so I'm going to throw this over into the bowl with the tomatoes, because all of this is going to saute together. Okay, throw this over in the bowl with the tomatoes. Now, what's the difference, you might ask, between regular parsley and flat leaf parsley? Flat leaf parsley is actually the Italian parsley, and the reason they call it flat leaf is because the leaves, as you can see, are larger and flat, to where the other parsley, the leaves are curly. So I'm taking about a handful of this parsley, if I can quit dropping stuff all over the place. And I'm going to cut the stems, and then I'm just going to rough chop the rest. Alright, so our parsley is ready to go over into the bowl. And then, to finish off our little components here, we're going to use, alrighty, so now we're going to put in 4 cloves of garlic. And what I like to do with my garlic, guys, if you don't already buy it minced, I buy it already peeled, because it just makes my life easier. I like to smash it before I chop it. It just makes it easier to chop that way. So we're going to put it here, and then I'm just going to cut like so. And chop that up. Alright, so now we're going to go over to the oven, over to the stove, and we're going to get started on our sauce. Okay, so now to get started on our sauce, we're going to first start by sauteing all of the veggies and everything, the herbs and stuff that we had in there together. I'm just going to pour it all into the pan together. And I almost forgot about our mushrooms we're going to put in it, so we're going to incorporate all that together. I had some baby portobellos that I chopped up myself, and oh my god, this smells so good. Oh, I put it in the pan, it smells so good as soon as it hit the heat. I just put a little bit of avocado oil in the bottom of the pan. I got new pots and pans for Christmas, guys. I got some Teflon pans, and I am in love, okay? So, and so we're just going to mix that around, and we're not going to saute them down too much because we still have to do our scallops and our soft sauce. But just enough for them to get a little glossy. I'm going to sprinkle a little oregano on them, pinch of salt, and a little bit of pepper, and I'm using white pepper today. I've been really into white pepper lately. I don't know why. Our pasta's already done, so all you do with the pasta when it gets done, instead of just letting it sit in the water, guys, what you can do is drain them off and then rinse them with cold water. That'll stop them from cooking. So when you mix everything in with your sauce, they're not all soggy. Okay, so this is done for now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these out and put it in a bowl, and then I'm going to get my scallops ready. Start on my scallops and my sauce. Okay, now we're getting ready on getting prepared on the sauce part. I'm just trying to pull the camera back a little bit so you can see. There we go. We're getting into the sauce part. There we go. And so we start out with a half a stick of butter. This is vegan butter that I'm using here. And you're going to melt that down into the bottom of your saucepan. As you can see, mine is melted. Melt that down into the bottom of your saucepan. You're going to need a whisk. So then, once that melts down, you're going to put 1 cup of almond milk and a half a cup of flour, just kind of making a roux. Okay, well, I'm sorry, put the flour in first. Kind of making a roux. Okay, so our butter is melted down. So now we're going to put some flour into it. Not quite a half a cup, maybe more like a 1/4 of a cup, because you're kind of making a little bit of a roux with your butter and your flour. Not quite a 1/4 of a cup, because you want to. This is what's going to make your sauce kind of thick. We're going to use 1 cup of almond milk. There you go. Stir that around in there real nice. All right, coming together nicely. Alrighty, then we're going to sprinkle in a little oregano and a pinch of salt and a little bit of pepper. Okay, so we can go ahead and start having it, the seasonings start to work with it. So you're letting this kind of bubble just a tad. While you're letting it warm, we're going to take the juice of 1 lemon, and remember this is a lemon herb sauce. So we're going to take the juice of 1 lemon and squeeze it into the sauce. And I learned, guys, that I was doing my lemon thing the wrong way. Usually I turn it upside down, but you're supposed to turn it this way to where the rind part is up, because it squeezes all out that way. I had no idea for years. I was just doing it wrong. So, and it looks lovely already. See how thick it's getting already? With that lemon in there, it smells so good. Very simple recipe. Now we're going to cut the fire down a little. Cut it down to medium. I'm going to add in a little bit more almond milk. Not much. It's smooth, but I don't want it too thick. So let's see how about a 1/4 of a cup of almond milk. Yeah, that's perfect. And you just have to add your liquids and stuff in slowly so that you're not, don't do it all at once, because then you might put too much and not realize you're putting too much because you're putting everything in there at once. You put everything in a little at a time, and that kind of helps you out. Okay, so now our sauce is just about ready. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take the whisk out, and then I'm going to grab my little extra spoon, and we're going to scoop all of that goodness that we sauteed together into this sauce. Oh, that looks so good and smells heavenly. Okay, so now we're going to let this simmer for just a few minutes while we get the scallops ready. Okay, so now we are going to finish this off by getting our little mock scallops ready. And you see I'm taking the plastic off and taking them out of the bowl. And all you do is you put them in your marinade while you get everything else done. And then that way, that can be marinating while you're cooking everything else, and by the time you get done cooking everything else, it's ready to roll. So now we put just a little bit of avocado oil in the bottom of the pan so that they don't stick. And then we're just going to place all of your mushrooms or scallops, and they're actually king oyster mushrooms. So we're going to place them in the bottom of the pan. We're going to get them brown on both sides. And remember, if you want to make this a vegan dish, all you have to do is leave out the fish sauce in your marinade. Or you can not even marinate them at all. You could just salt and pepper them if you like. I just prefer to marinate mine. Okay, now while they're in there, you're just going to sprinkle the tops with a little salt, a little pinch of salt, and a little bit of pepper. And just a tad bit of dried thyme. And my fire is on medium, but it's in between medium and medium high. So you're just going to let that simmer or cook or sizzle or however you want to say it. And let that sizzle away there. And then you're going to leave it on this side for about 3 minutes, and then you're going to turn it over, do the same thing for another 3 minutes. You see, we've already toasted on one side or browned on one side. Now we're browning on the other side. They look absolutely delicious. Look at that. Gorgeous. And they're darker because we use the soy sauce, but the flavor it's going to give is going to be heavenly. Go ahead and season the side that was already down. Dry thyme. Okay. Oop, didn't do that much. Alrighty, these are almost done, guys. We're going to go ahead and assemble our plate, and you're going to see the finished result. Alrighty, my darlings, there we have it. We made us some vegetarian scallops and made us a little pasta to go with it that is absolutely delicious. You're going to love it. You're not going to be disappointed. And we made them with king oyster mushrooms. How awesome is that? And you can find those at Whole Foods and any Asian grocery store. And sometimes you can find them in a regular grocery store like Kroger's and Fry's or whatever you have in your area. I tend to find it hard to find them at a regular grocery store in my area, so I go to an Asian farmer's market or Asian grocery store or Whole Foods, and they always have them. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you for stopping by and watching. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can keep on getting those wonderful notifications letting you know when I upload a video. Give us a thumbs up if you like it, and share this video with someone that may be looking for some different recipes to try out. We have plenty on our channel. So, as always, my loves, I appreciate you for taking time out of your busy lives to take a moment and watch little old me. I love you, love you, love you. You guys have a wonderful day. God bless you, and happy cooking.